Okay, so next I am going to go back to the presentation. The video from this point on will be available at the end. Okay, yes, so confirmation was made that this available, the video will be available at the end. Let's see, did I already talk about this? Oh, let me backtrack to this screen right here. So like I said, if you use this in your classroom, know that for better performance and user experience, use a laptop or desktop because your students will get a better experience out of this using, again, using a laptop or desktop. Presentation view, okay. All right, so I'm getting ready to post another link to a document that's gonna give us the activity for the day. So here we go. Let's see if this is gonna work. Hope it does. Yep, perfect. So I just posted another link in the chat. So if you can click on that link, let me know if it works. If it doesn't work, please let me know.
Okay, Lion King.
Yeah.
Play tutorial.
Yep. So I am going to actually unshare my screen and switch over to this other one. So give me 1 second to do this.
I must have missed what you clicked on that one.
Did you see the link in the chat? There's a link in the chat.
Yeah, I'm on the
Yeah,
I'm on Thunkable right now, but you said
Oh,
click
so you're on Thunkable. So if you scroll down in the chat, there's the latest link that I just posted. It should say docs.google.com and some other stuff.
Okay, appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Are we on part one?
Download. Do we need to click on it in our on our laptop, or do we need to do it on our phone? So if you're on
your laptop, that's a good. So some people on this call on a different device than they're using to do the coding, because then I need to give you a shorter link to use. Let me create a shorter link. Does everybody see my screen? If so, let's get started. Okay. So we're looking at the document together. So let me make sure I'm on the same place. So let's start from the top where it says overview. And let me move this over here so we can be looking at the same thing.
I'm not anywhere near that.
Okay, so let's go to the top. Everybody see overview and purpose? Yes. So overview and purpose. Again, this document is going to be available for anybody to reuse this. You can definitely use it I don't want to say steal it, but you can repurpose this, there's no problem. So we're going to do two parts to this. So the first part is we're going to talk about, so I'm going to describe what this app is. I'm a big Disney fan, but not specifically Lion King. So one of the things I try to do if I was in a class is maybe use some example that I think maybe kids will find, that they will find that they could be of interest, or maybe something they've seen before. So I'm figuring everybody has seen Lion King, or maybe they have a favorite song in Lion King. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a playlist, where we're going to use the concept we just learned, like our user inputs, process information, and so forth, the conditionals, variables, and functions to create where you can play, stop, go next. And if we have time, we can probably add other features such as like shuffle and things like that. Again, this may seem like, oh, well, why would you want to recreate something that's already been done? But the point is to show students or anybody never done this, that you can actually do this if you just put the code in the right sequence and then you get the right output, okay? So let's start at the top. So objective, we're going to do part one. So we're going to play one song with a matching image and a label. And the way I want to do this is, again, we already did number one. Number two, click on this link. So what's going to happen is it's going to give you a template that we're going to work from. So if you click in this area right here where it says click here, so they're all click together. Okay, mine open in a new screen. Yours should open in a new screen. It should look just like that. Don't touch anything yet. I just want to confirm and make sure that everybody's good to go. Again, For those of you who didn't catch it, I'm on page 1 in this tutorial where it says play template. Click here. And if you signed in, make sure you see the letter of your first name in the right corner over here, top right corner. That's how you know you're logged in. If you do not see a letter or initial there, that means you did not log in. The reason why I'm saying this is going to save your progress. So after this workshop, you can go back and continue working on this if we don't get time to finish it.
Where is the letter supposed to be?
If you look at my mouse on the screen on the top right, right now I have an S on mine on the top right corner.
I gotta move this.
Yeah, you might, for some people, you might have the video on the way, so you might have to move it out of the way. Yeah, so if you don't see your initials at the top right, then you're not signed in.
In account, my initial?
Yes, you should see your initial. If you see initial, that's good. If you don't see initial, that means you're not signed in.
All right, then.
Okay. All right, so let's get to it because I'm looking at the time. We're already at 4:12, so I want to, you all enough time to get everything done and have a place because I have no letter, but if you sign in now, then you are signed in. Okay. All right, so here's what we're looking at. So remember earlier, we were talking about what is our problem solving, what we're trying to do, right? So here's what we consider success, right? So if we want to have an image, we want to have a title at the bottom, and we're going to have 2 buttons, one that do play and one that do stop. Again, I'm constraining what we need to look at. I know sometimes your students, I know it happened to me before, they want to add other stuff, they want to change the background. Like, we're going to talk about all those things. Like, they're great, but I want to stick to the concept because once you understand the concept, then you can customize this as much as you want to. So what we're going to do is add the image, add the label, and then do the 2 buttons. Okay? So let's go with that. Now, I made this to where you can follow along with me. If you get lost somewhere, you can always come back and reference this document, but I'm going to go slow to where you can follow along with me as I do it as well. So, quick tutorial on the Thunkable. Thunkable is, again, a platform that you can use to build mobile apps. So you see the phone in the middle. The left side is what I consider your toolbox. If you go to the top where you see my cursor right now, if you scroll down here, you notice some files. You're going to notice an MP3 and some JPEG. I've already preloaded these files that we're going to use. So normally, the students will go find these images, videos, or whatever they need. But for the interest of time, and you can do this as well. You can preload a template and give it to them just like this. So all the images that we're going to use in songs, I've already preloaded into this template. The bottom part where it says add components is what I consider the toolbox. So all the different components we're going to be using, I'm going to be telling you to type something in this box versus going to look for it because you can scroll down or you can type in the search box to get to the components, to get to the components as quickly as possible. The right side is what we consider a property screen. So right now we don't have any other components. So right now screen 1 is what you see. So here are the different properties of your screen 1, okay? So let's start with, I am on the first part. So the first part says on the image component, right? So what you want to do is type in this box, and I'm going to go slow. You're going to type image, okay? And you're going to get different options as you type image because it's trying to narrow down your search. So there's an image just like this, and you see where my mouse is. You're going to drag it. So a lot of this stuff you just drag into the screen, okay? It's going to place it right in the screen, okay? Immediately you notice that the right-hand side over here, it changed. As soon as you drop this, there's no red dot line. Means that that's the component that's selected. That says image 1. So you know you have that component selected. Okay. Next, we're going to do these 4 things right here, which is going to change the name of the image. We're going to add the image that we want, and we're going to change the height and the width. Okay. So the reason why you want to, so hit the little pencil that says rename. Okay. And then the box is going to change to where you can type. The reason why you want to rename this stuff is because song, what is it called again? I guess song image. So the reason why I'm calling this song image is because I know that this is the image that corresponds to a particular song. Because if it just says image 1, after a while, you're gonna have a bunch of image 1, image 2, image 3. Then you're gonna try to remember what are those images or what are the names of those components. So we're being specific about what names that we give our components. So song underscore image. And by the way, again, I don't have time to go through this, but if you do something like this, song space image, although here, you can't let you do it, let's not do that. Everything that you do when you name things in computer science or in programming, you always do either one word or you separate them by underscore. That's how I've always done it. So either you do that or you do something called camel case. Again, there's other things I don't want to go into, but we're going to stick to this format, and it's going to do song underscore image. Okay?
Yeah. How do I get to change this? Image 1 is up here, but I
So
can't.
you see so you see the little pencil right here where my mouse is, it says rename. You're going to hit the little pencil. Once you click on it, it's going to activate your box. So you can
Pencil.
actually click in the box.
Move your.
Yes. So right here, there's a little
Oh,
pencil.
okay. This pencil.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next we're going to go to picture. Notice that we have already loaded our images and songs. So we're going to select the image that we want. For our purpose, we're going to go circle of life, but make sure you pick the one that says .jpg, right? MP3 is an audio file. JPG, it's an image file. Just so you know the difference, right? If you already knew that. So pick circle of life JPG. As soon as you do it, you notice on your screen, there you have it. So it's letting you know that you're doing the right thing as you go. It's validating your actions as you go. Okay? And then the next part is height and width. We're going to do absolute 260. So here's your height. It's already absolute. I'm just going to click in the box, that says 150. Change it to 260. Same thing with width. Change from 150 to 260. So I just wanted the image to take up the entire screen, so it'd be big enough to see. Okay. I'm going to quickly go through this next step. Again, please, my apologies if it seems like I'm running through it because I want to get through at least something for you all to see something at the end. Okay. There's 2 ways to test this. If you do preview, as you see it right here, it's going to switch over to a preview mode, right? So now all we have is an image, right? There's nothing we can do to it. You can click on it. All you can do is just hover the mouse over. That's all it is. It's just letting you know, hey, if you were to run this on your phone, this is what it would look like. That's one way to test it. Another way is where it says live test. Again, had we had time, I would have told you to download Thunkable Live, which is a tool on your phone that will sync with this Thunkable browser, and then in real time, you will see the app on your phone, okay? I can probably, let me think about this. I may even maybe do another tutorial that I can share as a video, and then maybe that can get emailed out stuff for you to use as additional resources as well. So for today, the only one we're gonna use is either you can do live test and do it in here as it loads, right, which is fine, or you can hit preview. So either one of those 2 is acceptable.
Can I go back and ask you how you got that picture in there?
Yes, sir. So picture, you see where it says picture? Right here where my mouse is on the right-hand side. You see where it says circle? Right, that says circle of life for me. If you click in the box, it's going to bring a list of options.
Okay.
So make sure you pick the one that says circle of life.jpg.
Circle of life. Okay.
.jpg. So make sure you, yep.
And then how do I get to show up there? Hit return?
Yeah, just hit return or enter. That's fine.
Yeah, old people say return because that's what they had on typewriters.
That's right. It did say return. You're absolutely correct. Okay. So next, we are going to do the next part, which it says on the user interface. Again, we won't have to look up into this section. I'm just going to tell us to type the names, and then we're going to get the component. So you're going to type, we're going to remove image and type label, or actually here's label. So it's already here. So you're going to grab a label, okay? Now this is going to be tricky. As you drag stuff on here, it's going to move around. So once you drag it and drop it, okay, you're going to notice that now label went above the image. We actually want the label to go under the image. So as you see my mouse moving, I move my mouse over here. I'm going to grab the label, click and hold down the left button, right? So left click and drag it. When you see that little red line, you want the little red line to go below the image. And then just drop it. Uh-oh, you want to do it. There you go. Come on now. So it is a little bit tricky. Or maybe do it the other way. There you go. So you may have to do it the other way. So either you're going to have to grab the image, drag it, and move it above, or do it that way because we want the label below. That's a glitch with Thunkable. I didn't write Thunkable. I didn't create it. So that's one of the glitches is when you drop stuff, it puts it above where you want it, but we actually wanted the label below.
Just a heads up, John, you can move the actual label on the app screen.
Oh, you can?
Sir.
Okay. Thank you for that. Because I tried earlier, it would not go. Okay, cool. Thank you for that information. Okay. Now, where it says label, again, we want to give specific name, right? So the name we're going to give it is label_title. By the way, if you notice, I typed it earlier. Now I'm going to be smart about this, right? I'm going to highlight these names. Does anybody know how to copy and paste? If you don't, it's okay. You can type it. But there's another shortcut that you can do. You can highlight the name. I'm going to copy it. And then I want to change the name, okay? By doing copy and paste. That way I don't have to keep retyping it. So you can copy and paste. That's fine as well. Okay, and the text should say circle of life. Just like regular, spelled out with space and everything, since this is just text. And then we need to change the font size to 25, the font weight to 600, and the margin top 5. So we'll walk through that together again. So when it says font size, again, we're still in the property section. Font size is this. You can just delete this from 18, make it 25. Notice your text is getting bigger, right? So we try to make sure our text is somewhat proportional to the size of our image as well. Font weight, we want 600. So this is just to make it a little bit darker in terms of kind of like bold, okay? And then I'm going to do what's called margin top, and I'm going to do 5. I just want to put a little gap right here. You probably didn't notice, but I just want to put a little gap between the label and the image, put a little space so they're not together. You can put 10 if you want to. I say 5, but you can do 10 if you want to. But I'm going to do 5. Okay, so if we're done here, so we're done with the image component, the label component, we're about to come to the last part of the design that's a little bit, not complicated, but it's going to be a little bit tricky to put things in place, okay? So next, we're going to go and type and look for a row, just like you're talking about a row, a column, a row. So a row is R-O-W, so I'm going to type R-O-W, okay? Here's your row, okay? Again, you want the row to go below our stuff. As I was told, I can drag it like that. So if it goes to the top, like it's already been mentioned by Mr. McKinley, you can drag it from the top and put it right below our circle of life. So what we're getting ready to do is we want our button to be on the same line because normally when you add components, they stack on top of each other. We want them to go vertical, right? I'm sorry, yeah, we want them to go horizontal, not vertical. So in order to do that, we have to add a row. If you know anything about a row go across, right, from left to right. So once I add my row, okay, I want to give it a name, player control. Again, I'm going to copy and paste. You know, it doesn't make you lazy, it just makes you smart, right? All right, so player_control, that's the name of this box, of this area, okay? We're not doing anything else to it, but then we need to change the height to be fit content and margin top 10. So let's do that right now. What did I say? Height. Sorry. This needs to be, so on the height right here, I click where it says field container. I'm going to change the field content. It's going to shrink your box. Okay. Once you do fit content, it's going to shrink your box. And the reason why I'm doing it is because once we add the components in there, it's going to mold to the size of those components. And you'll see that in a minute what I mean. All right, let's see, time check. Okay, we're doing good. Okay, so next, margin top 10. So I'm going to go down here, margin top 10. Again, I just put a little, I just want to put space between my components. That's the only reason I add those margins. Okay, so now inside that row, we're going to add 2 components, which are buttons. One for play, one for stop. Once you do play, it's going to be really easy to do stop. So let's do button. So when I clear this on the left side again, where our components are, if you see my mouse, you see the button is over here. I'm going to get the button, drag it on the screen, but notice it goes to the top again. I want the button to go inside this row, okay? Now, this may be where you might have to drag it on the left side. Okay. Unless Demi know how to do this. All right. So this is where you will have to drag this inside. See how my line changed on the left side? Do y'all see that? I'm going to do it again. I hold it down with my left click. I started to drag. Once I see the little red line right there on the left, I'm going to drop it. That means it's inside this player control. Now notice that my button has moved inside there.
I was gonna say if you change, if the height was still at fit container, it would be wide enough to drop that button inside of it.
Great. See, that's why I have the team that I have. They tell me the stuff I didn't get right. Thank you. So I should have done the fit content at the end after we got done with this. Matter of fact, let me put it back. We'll bring it. Nope, that's the wrong thing. So yeah, good point. So he said I should have not had done this before. So we're gonna leave it open because we got to do another button. Okay. So on this button, it's tell us the name needs to be btn_play. Again, copy. I'm gonna click on the button. Make sure this is the button. The red line is under here. Make sure that says button 1. So always make sure you're changing the right stuff. Okay. I paste it in there, hit enter or return. Boom, there you have it. Now a name of a button is there. Now we don't want the button to be called button, we want it to be called play. Okay. Hit enter. Again, real time, you see that it is changing. It says play. That's what you wanted. That's good. Again, this is where it says choose your own color. For the interest of time, let's just keep it going. If we come back later on, if we're time, we'll change like the colors and all that. So let's go straight to font. So font size 25, padding right, and true, bold. So font size 25. Okay, notice that it got a little bit bigger. And then padding right, keep going down. We want this to be 5. And then bold true, which is at the bottom. If you keep scrolling at the bottom, this says false, you hit true. Again, it's just to make our text stand out a little bit more. Okay, so if you're still hanging around, you can always go straight to stop. So stop is literally the same thing we just did with play. So I'm gonna kind of pause here for a second, make sure everybody that's still working on play is good to go. If your play, if your play is good to go, go ahead and do the stop, because it's literally the same thing. You're just changing the name. Instead of saying play, it just says stop. Matter of fact, if you want to, you can hit duplicate, like right here. So what I may do is I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, see how I gave me another button of the same thing, right? So if you just come here, all I'm going to do is change this to say BTN stop, and then change this to stop, and then you're done, because everything else is already set for you. So all the font size, everything else. So now you have a play, stop. And then before I forget, click anywhere in this space, because remember, I reversed the property. If you didn't, then you don't have to do this again. You have to click on this white box so you can highlight the whole thing, and then switch this back to fit content. All right, so I'm going to preview this. I'm going to stop here for a second. We're done with the design because we're getting ready to switch over to our block coding. So right now, I just want to make sure everybody's good. So I'm going to give everybody about 2 minutes to make sure that they're at this stage. Again, if you do live, you can do live test or you can do preview. Right now, you click on the buttons, right? It looks that notice that there's something happening to them, right? Nothing is happening, obviously, because we haven't actually attached any kind of action behind those buttons. But at least you see our stuff is coming together. And if anything, so if you're doing this in the classroom, this again, one way to gauge, right, to see what talking about output, right? If somebody or a student is going through this, you notice what they're doing, you can immediately see, okay, they either know where they're supposed to be because they follow the instructions, or something is off, so they miss some instructions somewhere. So that's another way to kind of take a quick check to make sure they're on the right path. Okay, so checking the temperature in the room, looking at the chat. Anybody has any question on the design? Like I said, we're literally just gonna flip it over and do the blocks and implement those concepts that we talked about earlier. And my hope is that we get through at least this part and you can actually see the whole thing play before we get out of here. Okay, by that sound, it sounds like we're ready to go to the next part. So we just did stop. Oh yeah, haha. I will skip ahead. I forgot one more thing. We can't play sound without the actual component. So let's go to component and hit sound. So if you type sound in the search box, so I was about to make that mistake, which is nothing wrong with that because we are always trying to get ahead of the game. But if I had to, when you have a tutorial like this, it keeps you, on check to make sure you're doing the stuff right. So drag the sound. Now notice the sound won't appear over here. If you think about it, right, sound is a non-visible component, right? You're not going to touch the sound. It's just a background component that activates your sound. So you're always going to see non-visible component at the bottom over here, not on the phone display itself. Okay? And there's a couple things we need to do with the sound. We need to change the ID to say selected song. Okay? And then we're going to change the source. Since we're doing Circle of Life, right? Earlier we did the JPG. Now we do the same thing, but make sure you select Circle of Life. So this does at least make sure that when your app starts, once we do play, it will at least play this as your first song, right? So if you don't add any other songs to your program, you at least can play a Circle of Life repeatedly as many times as you want to. Okay. All right, now we're ready to move to the design. So I'm sorry, the blocks. So you go to the blocks on the top right of your top left to the right of design. You're going to switch over to blocks. Notice that it's empty. There's nothing there. Notice that the view has changed. Okay. So now we're going to talk about all those different concepts that we talked about earlier, which is your variable, your conditional, and your function. This is what I was saying earlier. If you look on the left-hand side, notice these names, right? it's a lot easier to read those things had we kept them the way they are before. We wouldn't have no idea where they are, right? So what if you have multiple images? You would have image 1, image 2, image 3, but you'd be like, which image does this one correspond to? So as we click on these, they have different options, and you will see how we're going to implement those. Okay? So let's go to blocks. So if you want to play the song, so here we go. Literally, all we're going to do is on the block side, we're going to click where it says btn_play. All right? So you're going to have this menu that comes up. It's a menu that has a bunch of options for you to use. The ones in the yellow are called event handlers. What happens is anytime you use one of those orange one or whatever color you want to call that, notice that it says when, do. That means something based on their name is going to do the stuff inside there. So that's why they call them event handlers. Excuse me, they wait for something to do, for something to happen for those for that code to be executed inside the block. So because we just want to click on the button, right? If you follow the instructions, we're on number 1. It tells you to get the one that says when button play dot click, right? It's the first one, and you can put it anywhere on the screen, but I would say start putting your stuff in order or giving yourself room because it's going to fill up once we start adding a bunch of blocks. Okay, once you do this, okay, now event handler is ready. It's waiting for some code to go inside there to be used. Okay, next it says go to the one that says select the song, which is this one right here. Again, these are the options on the left-hand side, the components that we used earlier. When you just select the song, you're going to have a bunch of options. Guess what? Since we want to play a song, we're going to pick the purple one, the first one that says select the song, play. These are like puzzle pieces. Click, they click in place. That's how you know which components fit in what in terms of the blocks. That's one of the reasons why they use block coding, because it's easy to snap things together. Otherwise, you would have been typing these concepts down or these codes down in terms of the back end trying to implement the code. Okay. Now, I would say if you let me see, does everybody have their computer muted? So I would say make sure you're muted when you get ready to test this part. Okay. Because we don't want to have everybody simultaneously playing their stuff. Is going to get really loud. So make sure you're muted. So now hit preview, okay? If you hit play, let me know, it just give it thumbs up. Let me see, let me look at the people let me bring up the whole, I'm gonna look at everybody that's in here. If you hit play and it plays, you can also do the thumbs up on your, from Zoom, just give me a thumbs up and let me know that it's playing, okay? Now, guess what's happening right now? You probably like, can I stop? You want to hit stop, right? You won't stop because stop has not been implemented, right? But guess what? Just like we did play, if you want to be, again, I would say innovative but smart about this, is you can right click the play, right? So this is why I'm going to start showing you how to reuse your code. You hit duplicate, okay? You're going to get the exact same block, okay? But we want to do what? We want to do stop. So you're going to do the little drop down, select stop. Where it says play, you're going to select stop. Okay. So now you should be able to hit play and you should stop it. You should hit play, you should stop. So let's see if that works. Again, give me a thumbs up if your play is working and your stop is working.
Okay, I'm on a Mac. So you said right click this?
So if you're on a Mac, you use the Mac mouse.
Yeah, I got a mouse.
I think it's double. Anybody who uses Mac, I forgot how to right click on Macs. I think it's.
Down control to right click. I know.
There you go. Thank you.
Down. Oh, okay. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Did it work?
I'm trying to now. It's kind of awkward.
And if not, don't worry about it. Like I said, you can go to stop, right? BTN stop. You basically do the same thing you did with I was just showing you to not having to go find the stuff again. You can just duplicate the same code and just change the names. But if yours don't work, you can just go to BTN stop, grab this one, then go to select the song, select the one that says stop. So that's just kind of like the easy way to get there, but you can go the long way if you want to.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to do it on the Mac.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Okay, so let's see, time check for 40. Okay, we're doing good. So I'm on page 5. Let's see, page 5. We just did number 5, step 5. We just did step 6. So let's scroll down, keep scrolling down. That's how quickly we went through it. Okay, we're actually done with the first part, which good job, everybody. So we want to make sure we do the design part. You got your components on the screen. We put the event handlers on the buttons, right? So that way when I hit something, I get a response, right? So input, output, okay? Any other questions before we switch over to the second part? So normally, again, this is all based on how long you have in the classroom. You normally don't have this much time. So this would be like the first day per se. And the second day you can come in and say, okay, let's build on and continue to do the same thing from yesterday, but let's see how we can improve our playing app, right? So we have one song right now, right? So we can say, well, what if I want to continue playing multiple songs that have different images and then the image match the song, right? So that's what part 2 is about. If you scroll down, you see here's what we're going to end up with. Same thing we have, right? The playing stop on the right and left side, we have our arrows pointing left and right, okay? Some people like to use next, previous, but because of space, and I just like to look better like that with the arrows pointing left and then right, okay? So variable, so we talked about variable earlier, right? So here's how you implement variable in Thunkable. Remember again, variable is going to be a container. We want to store a piece of information, okay? And then in here, function, and I'm on page 9, is like this. It's the purple one on the function is going to say something to do something, and you're going to put the stuff in the middle. And the if statement, which corresponds to conditional based on something, right? As we change the songs, we're going to use the if statement to dictate how we progress through our program. And remember, this is the flow of your program, okay? All right, without further ado, so what I ended up doing, literally on page 10, I put the whole thing on there for you to see, but let's walk through it together. If you get lost, I put this on here so again, so we run out of time, or you're going to get down, you can use this document to finish this up as well. So let's see if we can do this, okay? So we need to go to the design first, okay? Now, just like earlier, right, I told you how to duplicate the buttons. Let's do the same thing. So I'm going to pick play, okay? And I'm going to click on play. So make sure you click on play. Make sure it says BTN_play. Hit the second icon. Notice if you put your mouse under it, it says duplicate, okay? And I'm going to hit duplicate. I'm going to say yes, duplicate it for me, please. Okay, notice you have 2 play buttons, right? Make sure you click on this one, right? That's on the left or the far left side, I should say. We're going to change this one to say BTN_previous, okay? Because that's going to be considered a previous button, right? And then we want to change the text. And all I did was I used the less than sign. I just used 2 less than signs together. That's how I got the bam bam 2 facing the other way. So change your text to just say 2 less than equal, less than equal, got less than sign. Sorry, end of day. Trying to get my words together. Okay, we don't have to do nothing else. Go to your, okay. You're gonna duplicate this one as well, just like we did that one, okay? Select the far right one, because it says BTN button 2. Notice that it says button 2, it needs to change the name. And I just realized I changed the wrong one earlier. Let me fix some stuff. Okay. So on this one, it said button 2, but this needs to be BTN next, right? And then I'm going to do greater than sign to greater than sign facing that way. Now, before we move to the blocks, we want to make sure our buttons still are the same, right? So we didn't mess up anything. Y'all saw me make a quick correction. So when I click on the far left button, right, it should say BTN_previous, okay? When I click on play, let's make sure that says BTN_play, great. When I hit stop, make sure that says BTN_stop, great. When I hit next, the last one should say BTN_next, okay? All right, I believe we can quickly go through this. All right, so notice that now we have our previous here and our next here. We just added those, okay? And next, make sure you see these right here, mine kind of changed up. Make sure this still says BTN play and BTN stop. Again, this is part of coding. Don't worry if stuff gets messed up. This is actually called debugging. That's another term that we use when you try to fix errors. And again, you can use these in other classrooms too. So when you correct your paper or you fix something in a math problem, that's debugging, right? You fixing errors that you made. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's talk about what's going on, right? The first part, we need to call what's called initializing a variable. We need to create a variable. And the reason why we need a variable, we need to keep track of where we are whenever we hit next, right? So if you think about it, we have 4 songs. In this case, I need to know whenever I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, we need something to keep up with that, right? So that's what we need a variable for. So you're going to click variables on the left side. Notice it says initialize app name. I'm going to take this, put it right here. I'm going to call this, instead of name, I'm going to call it count, C-O-U-N-T, okay? And then I'm going to start at 1, right? And what do I mean by that? There's a math section, and it's blue. You're going to grab the one that says 0. Again, just like a puzzle, it snaps in place. Change this to 1, okay? So currently, the variable count, which is the name of the variable, has the value 1. That's what the blue is. It's a value. So if I was to use this count right now, the value is 1. But there's a way we're going to do this to change the value of variable. Okay? Next, we're going to go to our okay. So next, we're going to go to where it says BTN previous, okay? Let's do this quickly, just like we did everything before. You're going to do click, right, because that's the one we want to do. And let me talk about what's going to go in here. What's going to go in here is we're going to use an if statement, right? Because we always want to make sure that we don't go either beyond 4, right, when we click next, right, because you don't want to keep clicking next and you want to have 4 songs, right? There's no reason for you to keep click next and go to like 5, 6, 7, because there's no such thing as a 5th, 6th, or 7th song. So we're going to put a constraint by saying we want our if statement to control how far we click next. So as long as your count is less than 4, we're going to keep adding 1 to our count variable, okay? So this is how it looks like. I'm going to go to if statement. Sorry, I'm going to go control, grab if. Again, snaps in here, just like that. So if you recall earlier under conditionals, we have to create the condition, how we're going to test the condition, right? Right here, we're going to do what's called a logic expression, okay? It's a green button, which means we're going to go under logic. We're going to grab the one that says less than, okay? Again, there's 2 slots. The left side is the thing you want to use, in this case, a variable count, and the thing that you want to compare against. You're going to go to variables, and we're going to say app count. Okay, again, I went to variables, and I picked the one that says app count, just a single block. And I put in the first slot. And then now, remember, we got 4 songs, so we want to make sure count never goes beyond 4, okay? So I'm going to go to math, and then change this to 4. Okay, now, as long as that's a true statement, I just want to change count by 1. If you notice on the variables, there was a button that says change app count by 1. So I'm literally going to take this, put it here, and then I'm done. And we need to change it to next. This should have been next, not previous. So if you have that as previous like I did, go ahead and change that to next. So as long as we're less than 4, we're going to keep counting by 1, okay? All right, the same way we did the other one, right, for previous, right? If you look at the notes, you're basically doing the opposite, right? You're doing the same thing, except you're going to do greater than, and you're going to do 1. So let's duplicate again. Right-click on the outside. Make sure you click on the part that says when do. Don't click here. If you click here, it's only going to duplicate the if. You want to click on when do. I'm going to get another one. Previous. I'm going to change this to greater than. Change this to 1. And then, because I need to go backwards, instead of adding 1, we're going to subtract 1, in this case, do a -1. So as long as app is less than 4, I can keep going to the right. As long as count is greater than 1, I can continue to subtract by 1. So this means it makes sure that we never go to negative, and it makes sure that we never go beyond 4. Okay, so it looks like we got about 5 minutes, so let me see if we can fly through this last part. We may be able to do 2 songs. We may not be able to get to all 4. Okay, so the last piece we're going to talk about is functions, right? So here's why we do functions. Because I'm going to keep changing the song, I don't want them to keep changing the stuff in the next button for each song that I do. I want to write one singular function, so I'm going to do function to do something, okay? And I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in here. And I'm going to start with another if statement. If you remember, we did the traffic light earlier. You had a red, yellow, green, right? So you had different decisions that gets made different depending on what the outcome was. We're going to do another if statement. And then we're going to call this, instead of do something, we're going to call it change song. We're calling this function, let me zoom in so everybody can see it. Okay, so change song is the name of our function because we want to be able to do, whenever we use this function, it's called change song, it's going to do something for us, okay? All right. Next, we're going to use another if statement. We already did. We're going to do another logic statement. So logic, this time we're going to do equal. So I'm checking to see, depending where I am in my sequence of count, whatever position I'm in is going to correspond to a song. So here's how we're going to do that. Again, go back to variables, do app count. We're going to start with song number 1, which we already know what it is, right? So I'm going to have you all do this hopefully quickly. I'm looking at the time. I apologize. I'm trying to have you all have something done. Okay. There's components that happen when you have to change a song, right? So we have to change the image, the title, the name of the song. Okay, those 3 things that we have to do. So how do we do that? I'm going to go to label _ title. You notice the label title. I'm going to grab that. We know this is called circle of life. And then the next thing is the image. And these are all repetitive, right? I could come back here, or I can duplicate. Remember, again, I can duplicate these pieces. And all I'm doing is changing the options that I have here. So if I do song image, okay, Notice that it's going to switch over for me and then give me an option to choose from. So circle of life.jpg. And then the last one is our selected song, which is this one. And we want to change this to circle of life.mp3. Okay. Now, once I do this part, let's do one song and let's see how this works. If it works, then we're done for the day. We want to do what's called an else if, because we have the first if. If the first if is good, then let's say we go to count 2. We want to be able to display count 2. So you're going to drag else if and drag it underneath this if. Okay. Notice that he added another spot over here for me. Again, I'm going to do this. I hit the little gear. He brought up this menu. I drag an else if here. Boom, right there. And click on the gear again to make it disappear. Now, I'm going to duplicate the same thing, right? Again, a lot of this stuff is just going to be repetitive if you notice after a while. I'm going to change this to 2. I'm going to duplicate this, right? So this part we may have to kind of fly through because I think if you have already done this part, you're just repeating. Okay. Now the next song we should say is Hakuna Matata. Hakuna. Oh, I can't spell. Hakuna Matata. And then I select the JPG. Select the song. Okay. Now, in order for this to work, we have to do one more thing. Because we create a function until what we consider calling a function. It literally means you call in the method or the function to be able to use it. We're going to go back to function. Okay. Notice that there is a change song now. Because we're doing a next, let's take the change song and put it in here. And actually outside of the if statement. Okay. So my hope is now we should be able to hit next. So now you should be able to preview. So you can do live test from here. I'm going to preview. Let's hope this works. Oh, there you go. So if yours do the same thing like mine just did, I'm going to refresh again. I didn't play the song, but I at least got to validate that I went from Circle of Life. When I hit next, it changed to the next song. So let me see some thumbs up if you were able to do that. So if you were able to follow along, hopefully you were able to get this output. And play your song and make sure the song matches.
For some reason, I had a problem doing the else if. I don't know why. I clicked on the thing, but it wouldn't drag. Yeah, I'm supposed to be.
Right, so you hit the gear, and then you drag it from here and put it under this if.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep. So, I didn't see the thumbs up. So, did anybody
I have to go back
get to it? Let's see. Let's look at the people.
Then he has account 2. I select this.
All right. So, how are we doing? Did everybody get to try? Okay, I see some thumbs up. Okay, great. So, in the interest of time, I can actually give you the entire thing. We're pretty much done. All you have to do is let's do that. Let's do this right now. So basically, all you got to do is add another change song here for previous, and then add another else if. So you end up with, you should end up with 2 more, and then just basically duplicate this. Uh-oh. Not mean to do that. Yeah, so basically all I did was duplicate this piece. put one here, make this 3. And if you can imagine, you do this. And then normally in a class, that's what I would do, right? So I would do the first 2 and then let my students or whoever I'm with kind of finish out the last part, because we're trying to see if they're comprehending the idea of what we're doing. So if you have this working, add the other 2, then you'll notice that you can go all the way to the right and then back all the way to the left. And each time you're changing the image, changing the title, and then the song is matching as well. Where's Alistair? Is Alistair here? Let's see. My apologies. Yeah, my apologies for going over. I know we're running out of time, so I don't want to hold off people a little bit longer than I need to. And that's the only thing about when we do a class like this, in a workshop, there's so little time, we just can't get everything done. So my goal is always to at least get us to a point where we feel like we accomplished something. But without further, let me come back to my slides.
And we will share out the recording and the slides so everyone can finish up on their own time.
Okay, awesome. So let me get back to my slides here. So the last thing I said, like I said, we're gonna wrap up. I'm not gonna go over this, but it was basically kind of touching, kind of backtracking everything we just did. And then again, I was mentioning earlier, it doesn't have to end here, right? So you got Thunkable that we just did, you got code.org, our code activity, code AHS, Khan Academy, and for the say they have iPads and things like that for your classroom, there's actually what's called Swift Playground, which is specific for iPad. I can provide these links to Alistair as well. And then he can send all this stuff out for you all to be able to have access to information. This survey, I want it to be done after we got done. Obviously, we ran out of time, so Alistair, if you don't mind sending this out for everybody to take it, even for us at Code Crew, we like to kind of gather some data after we do a workshop just to get an idea how people thought about the workshop and some of the things that we can do different next time. So I hope that you all were able to, again, come in, whether you've done this before in terms of computer science or whether it's your first time doing this, and really just to show you that if you bring the energy, if you bring the right, feeling behind it, students will get excited about it because it's something different than what they're usually used to. So I'm always around. We don't have any time for QA, so since we don't have time for QA, here's our information. Our team account is on here, K12 team at code-crew.org. If you send any questions or inquiries or to the email, I always check it. I can be able to get back to you, but we have all of our social media platforms. And then YouTube, we have a YouTube channel where we post videos about what we do around the city of Memphis in terms of Code Crew. So wherever you are, again, whether you're in Memphis or across the state, you tune in with us. Like I said, thank you. I appreciate you all for allowing me to be with you all this afternoon. Thank you to my team again, Mr. McKinley and Brittany Smith and Mecca, who was able to drop in earlier. And then again to the University of Memphis, Dr. Ivy and Alistair for this opportunity to share some information with you all around computer science. So I'm long-winded. I'm gonna stop, let Alistair take over. So
thank you, Jean-Francois. I'm just going to pass along. There's a huge. This was great. Thank you. Yeah, I think we all learned something today.
Could you share with us the PDF of your slides, and we'll get that out to everybody along with the link to the recording that'll be in the YouTube channel?
Absolutely. And then I will, like I said, all those extra resources, I will provide them as well. So you can pass on to everybody that was here today.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we're always here throughout we're always here throughout the school year for any additional support, because I mean, we're actually, Mr. McKinley and Brittany actually wanted to go out to the schools. Well, not go out, but right now we're virtually teaching at a couple of schools here in Memphis. So they're in real time in the classroom as well. So if there's points where you feel like you're stuck on something or you want to reach out to one of us, please do so. We'll make sure we get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you. I know everyone's busy, so without further ado, I think we will say a big thank you to Jean-Francois and to his team from Code Crew, and we'll close this afternoon's session. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, and good luck with the rest of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Francois. We'll need it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.